what happens next. And there's an anxiety to that. It's one of the reasons you are more anxious on a plane than in a car. In a car, statistically, you're much more likely to die. But in a plane, you have no control over what happens. So you're sitting there, and there's turbulence, so there's a storm, there's a rough landing, and you're trusting two people you've never seen, never heard of, and of course...
Guys, thank you so much, John Sotocast. The great Tim Dillon just came out with this. Listen to his breakdown, listen to his analysis. He's great, as always. Sometimes we agree, sometimes disagree, and we'll talk about it along the way. Thanks a lot. If you're here, subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
The equipment and the machine. And I think there's an anxiety in our culture right now where people go, we don't have a say. We don't exactly get a vote on what happens next, how quickly these jobs are eliminated, what the privacy rights embedded into these systems are, how much of our social life is going to be orchestrated by these, how much of our financial life will be dependent on this, how much of our security is going to be dependent on all this stuff. And it doesn't help that whenever any of the people that run these companies come out, they're talking about Satan or they're being accused of killing someone who worked for them. You know, no one feels great about this. No, you know, there's no like, where's like the AI Dave Thomas? Remember Dave Thomas? He had a daughter and he fed her burgers and they had a thing called Wendy's and people trusted him. Dave Thomas, a chubby guy, and he'd say, Wendy likes her bacon or whatever. I don't remember what it was, but the point is this. You trusted Dave Thomas. Where the fuck is Dave Thomas? Sam Altman's not doing it. Peter Thiel's not doing it. Where is AI's Dave Thomas, an old folksy guy that goes, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You're geomapping a map that's going to be used to help people. Isn't that good? Don't you want the robots to see where they're going so they can bring you the medicine? You go, oh, interesting. They're going to be bringing us medicine and among other things. That's what AI needs desperately. It needs desperately some type of spokesperson that everyone isn't automatically completely disturbed by. Is there one person in that industry that can function as a spokesman that we're not all completely and utterly horrified by within several minutes of them opening their mouth? Every figure in that world, from Zuckerberg, everyone on down in the tech world, is horrifying. So what they need, get an old Wendy's commercial.
I think it was Peter Thiel that he was talking about before that was doing like a segment on the Antichrist. And obviously Altman, I think Altman's the one that was accused of, I think he was on with Tucker. He was asking about one of the guys was like a whistleblower that ended up getting suicided. You know, they're all obviously somewhat on the spectrum, and the problem with that is one of the, and what he's saying is very true. You know, what he's saying is very, very true, because one of the issues when you have, whether that be a disorder or some people would say an advantage, there's a gap or there's a difference in empathy in the way that you feel about beings, other people. You know, that's something that is kind of like lost a lot of times when you have that other area, when those other areas of the brain are open, apparently, you know, you kind of lose some of that feeling towards other people, towards other humans. And that's something that if these individuals are creating systems that are going to be essentially running our lives or dramatically augmenting our lives, for them to not to have that, you know, that real understanding of humanity, that is a real scary thing.
Just play us. This is what people want. Yeah, play this one.
The road leading to Wendy's next great chicken sandwich is a hard one. fraught with disappointments and dead ends. But when you're Dave Thomas and you're starting with Wendy's whole breast filet, you don't give up.
I think I'm onto something.
Introducing Wendy's Mozzarella Chicken Supreme, an all-white meat filet, mozzarella, and a creamy Parmesan sauce. One bite and you'll jump up and say,
Gee, this is pretty good.
exactly. Come try one today.
You trusted him. You trusted him. You felt good with him. You trusted the man. And he's in the kitchen. He's making mistakes. It's not easy. And he's saying, we went through a lot of different formulas here to find the, whatever it was, mozzarella, Parmesan thing. But don't you, now, could you play Sam Altman for a minute? By the way, anything he's ever said. just hit Sam Altman and hit video. Anything Sam Altman's ever said. Let's compare this. Here we go. Here he comes.
Their model provider is going to look like selling tokens. You know, they may come from bigger or smaller models, which makes them more or less expensive. They may use more or less reasoning, which also makes them more or less expensive. They may be running all the time in the background trying to help you out. They may run only when you need them if you want to pay less. They may work super hard, you know, spend tens of millions, hundreds of millions, someday billions of dollars on a single problem that's really valuable. But we see a future where intelligence is a utility like electricity or water, and people buy it from us on a meter and use it for whatever they want to use it for. The demand that we see for that.
Now, by the way, very disturbing statement. It's about the end of, of course, it's all about human obsolescence and humans not needing to think or whatever. And then eventually they'll have to figure out how to kill them all. But think about a Dave Thomas type selling that be a little better. Dave Thomas being like, sometimes being smart takes it out of you. Sometimes being sharp takes it out of you. But we're building a real smart machine. It's going to be the smartest machine you've ever met and your best friend. And if you need a little bit of smarts, well, you can just buy it. I'm Sam Altman. Boom. OpenAI. Sometimes you don't feel like being a smarty pants. You just want to buy intelligence from our big friendly machine. Our machine's brilliant. But instead, this guy's like, intelligence is a utility. You will buy it from us on a meter. You will live when we say. You will consume what we allow you to consume. We are the government. There is no government. What is the problem? The government is an illusion. Capitalism is a scam. It is fine. No one at my company who died did so in any way that could be considered suspicious, even though they are kind of suspicious. They need a Dave Thomas. They need a flow from progressive. These people, they're not doing themselves any favors. They're not helping themselves.
I think they should get Tim. I think Tim should do it. I would listen to him. Right? I think a lot of us would. But he is correct. They are not doing any favors. And it is just like, I feel like I've kind of been taking a break from this stuff only because it's just been so like dreary. It's been so just too much to listen to, too much to really wrap my head around. I almost don't want to. I think a couple of videos prior I was talking about like listening to music and stuff like that. By the way, if you're still here, please hit the subscribe button. That's all I need. Just subs. Doesn't cost you anything. Listening to more music, trying to chill out every now and again. Like obviously I have to like dip my toe into this stuff daily, unfortunately, because I can't, if I want to do this channel properly, I have to stay somewhat in the know. But I haven't been completely immersed. Like on my commuting down to work, I usually try, maybe I'll just do it one way rather than do both ways, and I'll try to do some music or something like that along the way. Classical music, jazz, even popular stuff. But yeah, when you see the way things are going, when you see the advent of the tech bros, Palantir, a lot of these AI companies, it's something that's going to happen. It seems to me, as just a very casual observer, it's just 2027 seems like there's going to be a big year, and I don't know why. Maybe it's the feedback loop that I'm getting. Maybe it's the propaganda that's been fed towards me. Maybe it's my algorithm. We don't know what we think anymore, and that's I've said that many times. We have no idea what we think anymore. We have no idea what's in our mind. It's also a curation of our screens, of the glass that's in front of us, and the images that are being sent through that glass. That is what comprises our brain now. And it's all encompassing, because even if you have a communication with somebody else, even if you're talking and actually having a physical interaction with somebody else, they were curated by what's on the other side of the glass, what's on their screen. And so what you end up having is, it's like the majority of the world now is algorithm-based entities that have been pumped full of this slop, and now we regurgitate it to each other and try to communicate that our soup that we've comprised inside of our brain, from what we've been feeding it, is better than their soup. It's I don't know. It's crazy. It's weird. It's uneasy. I have an uneasy feeling about all of this stuff. And like the more I consume, like a lot of the stuff that, I was watching Tucker the other day. He had this, I don't know if the guy was Chinese or whatever, but he was talking about the Iran war and what he thinks is going to happen. But then I look at him, and the guy's in China right now, and he's a professor. He's supposedly teaching he was saying he was teaching I don't know if it was linguistics, not linguistics, but the classics. He was saying he's teaching Homer and Shakespeare and stuff like that to his students, like for Western culture and classics. But it came across as, I just feel like everybody has an angle. Everybody has a thing. Everybody, like, I don't know, like, and if you don't have an angle, and if you don't have a thing, then the information that was fed to you for you to derive what you are thinking had an angle or a thing, that's why it's very uneasy. It's an uneasy feeling. I don't know. Like, the input is important. It's extremely important, because we come into this world with nothing, right? We don't have anything, and our minds aren't formed. Our ideas that takes time and interactions, and now the majority of interactions are fed through this filter. And like I said, even when they're not fed through the filter, they are somewhat fed. They're like passed through a strainer then to us, right? Because the person that you're talking to got their information from that source, and now they've jumbled it around up there, and now they're regurgitating it to you, and it's very uneasy. I don't know what to do about it. I don't know. I want to try to do some more videos and a deep dive into this, just because I'm trying to flesh this out right here in front of you. I don't know what the answer is. Don't know what the answer is. It's just weird. It's really, really weird. But we're here, and maybe we can talk about it and, chat back and forth, and you can tell me what you guys think, and I can tell you what I think. We can somewhat get to somewhat of a conclusion. The more I think about it, though, who was that guy? Kaczynski, the Unabomber. I think he was kind of onto something when he was talking about this exactly, that this was where we were going to get. Not that I condone anything that he did, far from it. However, I do find it very interesting that he was an absolute brilliant mind who, from my understanding, he was MK Ultra'd into oblivion, and that was one of the things that he saw coming. He saw this coming, and once the advent of AI really starts taking a hold, I don't know, I don't know the ability we are going to have to be able to unplug, and that's the scary part, because just like we are tethered to all of our tech, it becomes another tool in the toolbox, and that tool, where it may have some negative aspects of it, becomes indispensable. The heating in your home, the electricity, all of that stuff. There are good parts of it and there are bad parts of it. But at this point, to live without that stuff becomes very difficult. It becomes very uncomfortable. And sometimes over time, you're definitely going to overlook the bad that's caused by it, because it's just become part of you. So seems like that's where we're heading. Don't know what it means, but hopefully it all works out. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. 6283 Talk is my account on X if you want to follow me there. Thank you guys for following me here. please hit the subscribe button, like, share, all that good stuff. Mainly just subscribe, and I really appreciate you all. Guys, thank you so much. I'm John Soto. See you in the next video, guys. Take care.